Hello and welcome to Schoology. Schoology is a great learning management system that enables you to oversee a variety of courses for students or learners who are using a broad variety of computing platforms, whether laptop, desktop, or mobile. So the purpose of this video is several-fold. Number one, we're going to create an account. We're going to go to sign up, and where I'm going right here at this on this screen is where we're going to go in just a second. But in the meantime, you may want to go to this actual web page. It's www.schoology, as it's spelled on the screen, schoology.com. And we'll finish signing up in just a second. Secondly, we're going to set up a class or create a course. Thirdly, we're going to add members, or more specifically, I should say, we're going to show members how to add themselves. Fourth, we're going to create an assessment for members to upload an assignment to so that you can grade it. And lastly, we're going to show you how you can take your course and copy and share it with other instructors so that you can share resources across the Schoology environment. So hopefully by this time you've gotten to Schoology.com. And we're going to create an account. So like I showed you here, go to sign up. And those watching this video are going to be instructors, so go ahead and click on instructor. This is all that it is. It's quite a simple process. Go ahead and type in your first name and your last name. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that myself. Key in your email address right here. Your email is going to be your login, and so that's what you will use every time to sign in to Schoology. Create a password, a nice strong one. Go ahead and confirm that. And then this down here, you may have seen this before. If you click on I am not a robot, here is where you have to pick some part of the picture. I guess when this one it's containing vehicles, and that's just to confirm that you're not some sort of automated thing creating an account. Once you've done that, you're almost done. You do need to click on this agreeing to Schoology's privacy policy and terms of use, and this right here you may want to consider if you want to receive Schoology email notifications or not. If you don't, I would uncheck that. Otherwise, you can keep it checked. But once you've done, go ahead and click register. And then we're going to go ahead and sign on to Schoology using this email address and this password. And I'll show you what my home page looks like in just a second. So go ahead and register and then sign in to Schoology. So hopefully you signed into Schoology okay. Just keying in your username, which is your email, and your password. And it should take you to a screen that looks something like this. This home screen is where you'll see things like updates and if somebody sends you a message or so forth. It's also where you can upload a photo or edit your profile, all those things that sort of center around you as an instructor. But what we're going to do first is create a course. Now I showed you this is the home screen, and by default you'll show up here, but the second tab at the top is courses. So let's go to that tab, and it drops down a little bit, but there's really nothing going on quite just yet because I don't have any active courses. So I'm going to go to create. Let's create a course. All right, I'm going to call this Math 101 and be very unique, of course. Give it a section name, section 1, section 2, period 1, period 2, whatever you want to. The course will stay the same, but the sections can be kind of customized. So that way you can differentiate one section from another. Pick a subject area, math, and what level. That is what grade level, 12th grade, or you can make it a range. So 10th to 12th, 3rd to 4th, or so forth. Once you've done that, given it a name, a section, subject area, and a level, go ahead and click Create. Now right away, it takes us to our Math 101 course. But if you logged into Schoology in the future for the first time, it'll take you to the home page. Of course, if you go to Courses, here now our newly created course is going to show up right there, and that will take us back to where we already were. There's a lot of different elements that we can customize regarding our course right here, but right now we're simply going to add materials. And by default, materials, the materials tab that you see on the side, is where it takes you and where it takes most users when you first get into your course, because the materials are all the resources, all the things that your course kind of hinges on. So let's go to add materials right here. Right here, there's nothing shown, but we're going to go ahead and add a material. And I highly suggest using folders to arrange them. Let's go to add a folder. All right, and I'm going to call this math intro. And details here. Can't type today. Details here. You can add a description, and I highly suggest using colors, because if all the folders are the same color, it makes it harder to navigate for users and also for yourself. So using color coding can help people find the right folder. You can give it a date if you want, a start date. There are more options involving dates, that is when the folder becomes available, but that goes beyond the scope of this video. All I'm going to show you is the availability of published and unpublished. If you want it to show up right away, keep published checked. However, you may want to kind of build out your folder, build out the materials that are in your folder, and so if you click unpublished, it will not show up for your users until you're ready to publish it. But we're going to assume that we want this to be visible right away for our users. So we'll go to publish, and I'll go to create. So this is our first resource in our Math 101 course. Now, if we want to see what is in this folder, you can either click on it, and if we go in there, you'll see the same kind of nothing, because there's nothing in it. We haven't created anything quite just yet. Or I'll go back. You can also see what is in a folder by clicking this drop-down arrow, which, as we've seen before, the folder is empty. But if there were resources inside this folder, they would show up underneath this right here. So let's go into our folder and actually create a resource. We're going to create actually any number of things. Let's go to add materials right here and see what we can do. Showed you how to add a folder already. You're probably going to use this resource or this assignment, simply add assignment. It can be any number of things. It's intended to be general so that you can be specific as to what the students need to do. Our assignments, the one I'm going to show you, is you're going to designate what the students need to do by probably giving the assignment a name, giving it a description of what needs to be done, and then enabling the students to upload either a photo of their assignment or a file. These other ones down below, you can kind of peruse on your own time. Tests and quizzes are actually sort of self-graded assessments that can be created on Schoology. You can add links and files, from external from Schoology. You can create discussion groups, sort of rudimentary web pages, media albums, that is photos and sounds and that kind of thing. But we're just simply going to focus on adding an assignment right now. Okay? Adding an assignment. So as this loads up, and this is Flash-based, by the way. There we go. We're going to call this assignment do a math problem. Sorry, I hit enter by mistake. Do a math problem. All right. So that's going to be the name of the assignment, and the student should probably know what that means. But down below, you may want to be more specific as to what is required of the students. Any kind of problem. All right. And let's see. And upload a picture of it. There we go. That's, I think, specific enough. But of course, when you create your own assignments, you're probably going to have more specifics. Now down below, give it a due date. Give it today's date, and by default, 11:59 becomes the time of day that it is due. So that means your course members, your students, as long as they upload it sometime on that day before 11:59 p.m., it's considered on time, otherwise it'll show up as late. And then of course give it a point value. I'll just call it 10 points. Category. Now we don't have any categories quite just yet. Setting up the grade book is a completely other thing, other element. But you don't want it to be ungraded because that means it won't have any point value. I do at least want to create a new grading category, and I'll just call it assessments. Okay, or just assessment. You may want to do that when you're starting out with Schoology because it'll just be a straight points value where it tallies up all the points that they got, divided by how many points were possible, and you can afford to just have one category. If you want to get trickier using weights and stuff, or a weighting system, you can do that. You can set that up in the gradebook. In fact, you can see over here, those are the, you set up your gradebook here, and then you actually access your gradebook. It's under the materials over on the left-hand side. But right now, we're simply going to stick with a basic assessment. Okay. Make your scale or rubric numeric. By the way, if we drop that down, you can create rubrics that will enable you to assess things a little bit more easily. But again, that goes beyond the scope of this video. We're just going to make it a numeric scale. And before we click create, I want you to look at these two little icons down at the bottom. By default, this icon, and let me turn it off for a second so it gets grayed out. By default, it is colored and therefore it is on, and that means submissions are enabled. What that means is there will be a place for your students, for your learners, to actually send a file to so that you can grade it. If you have that turned off, it means that the assignment is going to be submitted some other kind of way. All right. And this right here, publish to students, that means the students can see it. Like I showed you before, if you want to publish or unpublish a folder, you can do that. But if the folder is visible, but you do not want the assessment to be seen quite just yet, you can unpublish it and then go back in and publish it whenever you're ready. So you can publish and unpublish entire folders. You can also publish and unpublish assignments as well. But by default, both of these are set to on. So we'll keep them on and then go to create. And we should see this assignment show up in our math intro folder. Now let me go back out to just the regular old math 1, section 1. Okay, so there's the, this is what you would see if you had the whole course in front of you. Now there's only one folder right now. But if we drop that down, that little arrow, we should see this first assignment right there. So you can either see everything in the folder in terms of a list, or if you click on the folder itself, now we're actually in it, and you can see a little more details of each assignment. All right, so do a math problem. So we can go into this and sort of see some specifics. Now there's no submissions quite just yet over here, but as students submit them, they will show up there, and then you can click on them to grade them. But in the meantime, you can add comments. Students can comment on this assignment as well. Let's see, more details. Oh, I forgot. You can add more things right here. So these are little things kind of about this assignment that you can add and your students can respond to. All right, but most of all, you're probably going to be looking for submissions to show up in this assignment because that's what's going to give your students grades. Well, let's go back out to our main course for a second, Math 101. All right, and speaking of students, we want students to be added to our course. You can do it manually, but it's probably better, it's probably easier for them to do it themselves. So what you may have noticed here on the left-hand side is down at the bottom, this access code. This access code for Math 101, Section 1, was randomly generated. But this right here is going to be very important to send to your students. So your students are going to need that code because as they create an account and then try to join a course, that code is what they're going to need to enter in, or it may be easier if they cut and paste it in. So you may want to cut and paste this as you send it to them, whether in email or otherwise. So this code right here is very important for students adding courses or being added to your course. So by default, they are automatically joined. You don't need to do any permissions or anything, but you need to give them this code right here. All right, and then if maybe somebody gets your code that you don't want them to have it to get into your course, you can reset it, and then it will create another randomly generated. Yes, users will no longer be able to use the old code. That's right. Okay, so if you can reset that, and then there's a new code for other people. All right. So we've gone through how to create an account, how to set up a class, how to add members, or in this case, how members can add themselves. We've created a place for students to upload assignments to. So we've got our folder right here and our assignment, and our assignment or our student submissions will show up right here. And lastly, we want to be able to take the course and copy it and enable other people to use it. Okay. Well, this is going to require kind of looking at two other tabs at the top. We've got our home, which is what you would normally see if you logged into Schoology. We've got our courses with Math 101 that we just created. But now let's go to groups. All right. Now I'm not going to create a group. Well, actually I will. Let's go to create a group right here. What groups is, it can be groups of students, it can be groups of educators, or any combination thereof. All right. But I'm going to call this new course sharing group. All right. You can give it a description if you want. You can make it available to anyone, only to Schoology users. If you're in a certain school, that is only people in your school can access it. I'm just going to make it available to everyone right now. Okay, but by invite only, I suggest, because that means other people that you work with. Oh, you know what? Well, we can do allow requests as well. All right, people can request to join your group, but they can't just jump right in. They have to kind of pass this approval process because you're creating this group. All right, and then you go and create. And the purpose of this is for you to be able to share resources with other people. Now, I'm the only member in this group right now. Okay, but as other people join, resources can be shared between members. All right, and this is where you're going to take your course or even elements of your course and enable other people to use them, whether it's assignments, whether it's tests, entire folders, or otherwise. All right, now if I go to resources right here, now there's only one member in this group and it's me, and I go to resources, I have no resources because I just created the group. Okay, but what we're going to do is take our course and enable it to be shared as a resource, and then we can take that and put that in this group. All right, so if you go to the top tabs right here, there's a resource tab. You've got personal resources, that is things that you've created, assignments, tests, folders that are yours. All right, but also group resources as well. Now this is the only group I'm in, and it's called New Course Sharing Group. And like I showed you, there's nothing in it quite just yet. But all my personal resources, and I've got a whole bunch right here. This is where you send things to first, and then you can send it to groups to share them with other people. All right, so let's go back to my group resources. All right, nothing in there. We're going to take our course, and then we're going to share that to a group. Okay, so let's go to home. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to our courses. Okay, but let's go to our course. So we're in our course. When you're in your course and you have your whole list of folders right here, simply go to Options, which is right next to Materials. All right. This is how we take the course and actually make it a resource in your resources. We're going to go to Save Course to resources. All right, now it may actually take a little bit of time because it has to kind of compile all your stuff. But we can save this to my resources home. Now that was that great big list of resources that were my personal ones that you saw. But we're going to save this course to resources, and we're going to share it right to that group. And that group is called New Course Sharing Group. Now you can create subfolders even under your groups and resources. But we want to take our entire course and share it to this group right here. So keep Save As Folder with Resources checked, because that means everything that's in the folders is going to come over. And then go to Submit. All right, so now if we go to Groups, New Course Sharing Group, it's probably not a very good name, I guess. I'm going to go in there. All right, and now it's still only me as a member, but if you go to Resources, now Section 101, Math 101, Section 1 shows up, and this entire course is in the resources right there. So that means that if anybody else who is a member of your course sharing group, and you can add more people, if they join this group, they will see Math 101, Section 1 in their resources. Now they have that to add to their own personal, you might say, stash of folders and assessments and assignments and that kind of thing. So that's how you would take an entire course and share it with other people. You can't really send it to somebody. That other person has to be a Schoology user, and they have to be kind of a member of the same group. All right, so once again, how to get people into your group? Well, here's another access code where you would send it to somebody if they want to join your group. Now, you may remember that I okayed the allow requests. So if somebody knows about your group called New Course Sharing Group, they could request to join it. But if you specifically want somebody to join, this is the access code that you would send them, and then they would use that when joining a new group. Incidentally, if you wanted to join a new group, you would go to Groups and then Join. We just created one, but if you wanted to join one, this is what somebody else would see. They would simply take that access code, either type or paste it in, and then they would be in your group, and so you'd have an extra member added. And then all the resources, every element of that group would be available to that person. So that's how we take entire courses and share them with other people. We make them resources. So that is how we create an account, set up a class, add members, add assignments and assessments, and creating courses and copying them so other people can use them. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you for following along.